Okay, as we enter a whole new day in trade, let's take a look at the global cues from last night, particularly how the US performed and how Asia is performing this morning. Now, it was a bit of a break for the markets. We slid off last night. The Dow closed 105 points lower. The S&P fell 0.8%. The Nasdaq fell 2% for its worst day since the 30th of October. The Nasdaq also snapped a 4-day winning streak. The broader market's downside as well was led by tech and chip stocks, particularly weak. Currently, this morning, Dow futures are pretty much flat, S&P futures are pretty much flat, and Nasdaq futures are also just about in the positive. Asia, on the back of this US handover, is also looking a bit weak this morning. Let's remember, we all take cues from the US market, and the US market is waiting for stimulus. There's no clarity on that. We're also waiting to look at more and more vaccine data and exactly how the cases are shaping up currently. There seems to be a huge surge in cases. So Japan was a bit weak this morning. The Nikkei fell 0.40% in early trade. The Topix also dipped 0.2%. The Kospi tumbled 1.11%. So that index has also arguably been one of the best performers. It's also slid off the most yesterday. In Australia, the benchmark ASX 200 fell 0.56%. In Australia, though, all your sectors were pretty much in the red yesterday. It was very difficult to find a pocket of the markets which managed to stay in positive territory. So that's Asia as well, looking quite weak this morning. If we take any cues from that, SGX Nifty is definitely showing us a mild downtick today, but let's see how we really shape up in trade. And looking at Europe yesterday actually closed 0.4% higher because that's the Stoxx 600, and of course we might have a very different market trajectory from there today. Most of your major sectors ended the day yesterday in positive territory, and then your auto stocks were the top performers, climbing nearly 1.5%. So we're likely to see a bit of a slide off today from that positive market action because even Europe will follow what the US did last night and how the futures are currently trending. Finally, two commodities we always do a check on, oil and gold. Brent crude surprisingly rose 8 cents or 0.2% to $48.92 per barrel. So, of course, oil outlook is very closely linked to economic recovery and, of course, the vaccine dispersal and the population getting vaccinated. So that outlook still looks quite positive if you look at the prices. US WTI, which is the American benchmark, settled again 8 cents lower at $45.52 per barrel. So a slight gap between Brent and WTI, both moving in different directions yesterday. But if you look at where these prices were a month ago, we've of course seen a sharp recovery. Finally, gold was down yesterday, surprisingly 2.4% at $1,827 per ounce. It typically acts as a hedged equity. So if equity is going bad, gold should do better, which wasn't the case yesterday. However, it did hit its highest level since November 23rd at $1,875 per ounce before cooling off. And then futures have settled 2% lower at around $1,840 per ounce.